Why, hello. I am so excited that you are here to jump into this little mini course with me today on eyelash extensions and see if this is something that you want to do, if you want to bring this into your current business, if you want to start a whole new business. I am super excited that you are here to learn. We are going to get after it, learn a few amazing things today. So quickly, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here so that we can jump into this training. All right, friends, so happy lashing. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be learning all sorts of cool things about eyelash extensions today. This is a mini training, a free mini training, but just to warn you, if you stick here till the end, I am going to have some amazing bonuses if you are interested in jumping into the full eyelash extension certification course that I have coming up. It is a class that I have been teaching for many, many, many years. And again, like if you stay here for the whole time, you are going to get access to all of the bonuses then as well. So I'm super excited that you are here to learn. All right. So one of the big things that I have learned over all of these years of doing eyelash extensions, and this is the hard truth and the total truth, that eyelash extensions are not damaging to natural lashes. Poor eyelash extension application is what is damaging to natural lashes. And we're going to learn a few different things today. 3 most important questions that we want to ask ourselves always when lashing to help us to make sure that we are not damaging lashes, that we are creating beautiful damage-free lashes that are gorgeous, that our clients are just going to absolutely love. And that's what we're going to be learning today. All right, so about me, I am your trainer, Shelby Hohsfield, and I began my career here in the beauty business around 2004, 2005. I did attend the University of New Mexico in Mass Communications and Journalism, but while I was going to college, I did start an internship with my mom, who is a master permanent makeup artist, and she's the one who got me into this business and still to this day helps me out quite a bit, actually, as we still own Lorenco Salon together. In 2005, when we purchased the salon, we also began hearing these little chatters in there about this new service called eyelash extensions. And while I was a permanent makeup artist at the time and still am today a permanent makeup artist, I really was very interested in this new semi-permanent eyelash extension procedure. And so I went and did some courses actually in Dallas and also was certified with Novalash and began just lashing away. Education at the time was so much more lacking, I guess you can say, than it is today, in the fact that we didn't have access to everything like we do now. And it was still so new. We were all learning as an industry as a whole. And I learned a lot the hard way. I am not going to lie, I did. But through the years, I learned, because I was such a perfectionist. That's the thing, is I was a perfectionist. I was an artist. I learned how to do this without damaging lashes. And that was something that was not super talked about at the time. And I just really wanted to make this something that my clients could continue to do without even having to really take breaks, that they could just have their lashes gorgeous, beautiful all the time. As a lash artist, I then hired a couple girls that worked underneath of me. We worked together. We did this together. We did all sorts of really cool things with lashes, and then a few more girls. And in all honesty, eyelash extensions quickly became one of our absolute biggest money earners at the salon, because it is something that you're going to find today. We're going to talk about you can build a clientele in eyelashes faster than you can just about anything else. So in 2013, between 2013 2015, I was accepted on the board of barbers and cosmetologists here in New Mexico under the state board. It was my mission at the time to try to establish some sort of education for eyelash extensions. This continues to be something that is talked about and the state is constantly working on. We're going to talk about this later on, but in October of 2023, they did actually finally pass some legislation type of issue things with eyelash extensions with the board. And There are some requirements now. However, it still is just very minimal. And that is one of the big reasons why I teach this class, because I really do want you to get the education. I have been teaching this class now for over 10 years. I have certified hundreds and hundreds of girls and gents in the art of eyelash extensions, and really just trying to do the best job I can to give you guys the education that you need. All right, so why I do what I do because I don't want to see other people struggle. I had young kids as I was doing eyelashes. I loved the fact that I was able to make my own schedule. I was able to do things, work around my schedule for work in order to make my kids and my family and my my life outside of work a priority, and really give that time to my VIPs. And so that's why I do what I do, because I love to help you to be able to do the same thing. Here is just some of the girls in the classes that I have worked with over the last 10 plus years. I love working with other women and gents in doing the art of eyelash extensions, and I would love to work with you too. So let's jump in. All right, so the 3 most important questions that we need to ask when we are lashing. Number 1, is the lash fully isolated? All right, so this is our education portion of this class. So listen up, pay attention, and we are going to actually watch a little video to demonstrate this here in a bit. But let's go over what it is this means when we're talking about fully isolated. So an eyelash grows in multiple different phases. So we have the anagen, this is the active growth phase. And then we have the catagen, this is the transition when the eyelash stops growing and the follicle shrinks. Then we have the telogen, this is the resting phase and can last over 100 days. And then that lash falls out and the cycle just repeats itself. So why do we care? Why do we care that there's this whole cycle of what eyelashes are doing? Well, because this is why. When you have 2 eyelashes that are connected together and they are not on the same growth phase, you are going to have one side that grows faster than the other. What can happen is that the one that is growing faster can actually pull the slower side out by the root. That is what is causing that damage. That's what we're talking about damaging lashes. And so if we have one that's growing a little faster, it's going to pull the other one out by the root. Or if one is about to fall off tomorrow and it's going to sit in here and is actually still attached, it's going to itch that lash line like crazy. Basically, this is going to drive your client just mad. And she's going to want to pull all of her lashes out and get rid of this uncomfortable feeling that's there, that's in her lash line, going to damage her lashes tremendously. So the absolute most important thing that you can do as a lash artist is to make sure that your lashes are separated. It is one lash to one lash. So every time we apply a lash, we ask, is that lash fully isolated? And this also is a good thing to go over too, that we never actually attach the eyelashes to the skin. It is always to one single natural lash. All right, so the second most important thing that we need to look at when we are lashing, what question are we going to ask now? Is the lash too far up or too far down? So what do we mean by that? If we were to turn our tweezer on its side and lay it in there about the thickness of a nickel, that is about how far away our false lash that we are attaching should be on our natural lash. We should always be able to see it actually coming out of the skin just a little bit. That way we can make sure that it is all by itself. Going back to the first question, is it fully isolated? If we make them too close to the skin, we're not going to be able to see that, number 1. Number 2, it's going to rub in that area as well. And we want it to be comfortable. We don't want our client to feel these lashes on there at all. We want it to just be completely comfortable. And so when we apply a lash, we want it to be about a nickel's thickness away from the skin. Lashes should never touch the skin. And if it's too far away, it's not going to be stable. It's going to be kind of flapping around in the wind. So we want to make sure that it is right here. All right, and that brings us to our third question. Is there a smooth connection? And I will say that this is probably one of the things that beginners struggle with the most out of the three. We can clearly see whether or not a lash is all by itself and fully isolated. Is it too far up, too far down? It's not the end of the world. If it's a little bit too far up, we can clearly see if it's too far down. But this one here, for whatever reason, beginners a lot of times really struggle with this one. And what we're talking about here is this smooth connection to the base. So when we are applying a lash, we want to focus all of our attention on making sure that this base is connected and that we have a good amount of surface area that is attached with the adhesive. If they split at the top, that is okay, but we always want the adhesive to be smooth here, and we want these lashes to really come together all the way to the base. And that is going to be our third one that we are always going to be looking at is, are we making that smooth connection? All right, so here is some good versus some damaging lashes. Here we have some lashes that just honestly there was no isolation. That is the main issue. Many of them are too far up in there. They don't have that smooth connection, and we just got a big old mess going on. Here, on the other hand, we have these beautiful individual lashes that really just exemplify what it is to have one single natural lash. So these are going to be real pretty lashes, even as they grow out. All of these are individuals. These guys over on the left, these ones are going to be quite the opposite. All right, so again, let's review. Number one, is the lash fully isolated? Are we attaching to just one single natural lash? Number two, is the lash too far up or too far down? Are we able to make that smooth connection through there? And then number three, is there a smooth connection? So this would be an example of the wrong lash. So they are not connected all the way to the base. They only are connected in this small area, and we do not have that smooth connection, unlike this one here, which is that smooth all the way to the base. So these are the three most important questions that we ask every time we are doing a procedure. So I'm going to go ahead and play this for us real quick. We're going to look at a couple of these things just being applied right here. So we go ahead, we isolate one single natural lash with our non-dominant hand. We get that right in the center there where we can see it. So isolate one single natural lash. Going to get our lash and our adhesive. We're going to focus all of our attention on that base, paint it in order to give that smooth connection, more surface area with the adhesive. And then we are going to let it go. So we continue to hold with our non-dominant hand to make sure that those lashes do stay completely isolated. We are showing here that the eyelash is about a nickel's distance from the lash line. So it's not too far up, not too far down. It is all by itself. And we have that smooth connection. So this is what we're looking for. We are looking for every single time we apply a lash, we're asking ourselves those three questions. Is the lash fully isolated? Is the lash too far up or too far down? And is there a smooth connection? If we can accomplish doing these three things every single time that we are able to apply the lash where it's supposed to be applied with that smooth connection and fully all by itself, that means that we are going to have an excellent eyelash extension procedure. All right. So now here is some examples of some different ways that we do lashes. So with lashes, it always is one natural lash. Regardless of how many you're putting on that one natural lash, it is one single natural lash. When we're talking about classic lashing, it legitimately is one lash to one lash. So every single natural lash is going to get one single fiber natural or false lash. So it's going to mimic more like having mascara, giving that fuller appearance, but it's not too extreme. The next one over is going to be a hybrid lash. So these are going to be a mix of classic lashing with some fans in there. And fans are a kind of a cluster of the false lashes that attach to, again, one single natural lash. Then we have our volume lashing, where it is these fans all the way across. And then we have a mega volume, which is going to be multiple amounts of false lashes attached to one single natural lash. All right, so here are some of our lash options. These are when we're looking at lashes, we have 3 different ways of distinguishing our size. And so we have our curl. C's, CC's, and D's are the most common. Thicknesses are going to range from 0.03 to a 0.3, and in all honesty, it probably even has even more in between all of these. Also, when we are looking at them, we're also going to be looking at our length, and our length is going to run between a 4 and an 18, with an 8 and a 14 being our most commonly used. And this is also going to be the same if we're using volume fans. So these are going to be pre-made volume fans. You have wide versus narrow. Basically, it is multiples of these beautiful little single lashes already pre-made into a beautiful fan. They are going to attach to, again, one single natural lash. These, again, are going to be C's, CC's, and D's. Typically, we want these to be quite a bit thinner so that they're not too heavy, whereas with a classic lash, we're looking at more between a 0.1 and even a 0.2 you can get to, depending on how strong their natural lashes are. All right, so even when we are applying volume lashing, even when we are applying fans, we still are going to be asking ourselves these 3 questions. Is the lash fully isolated? Is it one single natural lash that fan is attached to? We're also going to be asking, is it too far up, too far down? Same placement as we were doing the classic lashing. And is there a smooth connection? We're going to be looking at that same thing. We want to make sure that that fan is applied smoothly to the natural lash. All right, one of the other things that we want to look at when we are jumping into doing lashes is making sure that we're able to build a clientele. I love this part. Absolutely love the business side of this. And in my main course, we go into this way in depth. I will tell you right now, this is just helpful hint for today. Your website needs to be your home base. That's where everything kind of comes back to. And then from there, you can build out your full suite of everything that you need in order to really build that clientele. These are examples of some of the things that we go over in the main class, because we are going to learn all those basics, but then we also want to add to it. So we have our basics. We're going over the history of lashes, anatomy, skin, science of the adhesive, science of the lashes, the safety that it is for you, lash types, products, and supplies. We're going to be going over in-depth classic fundamentals. So just like we did today, only a little bit more even in depth there. Volume artistry, how do we do this volume lashing to where it just is absolutely perfect? Again, business. I love the business part. So we are definitely going to jump into all the business building even more. In the class, it is live critique, one-on-one training, and you also get some of those bonus maps if you are able to jump in today. So what can you charge? This is a big question that a lot of people have, because they want to know, is this something that I can make back my investment? So a classic new set typically is around $150, a hybrid $175, a new volume around $200, and a mega volume $250 plus. You can charge even more for that. And then typically we find that people lose about 10 lashes per eye per week. So we do charge per week for touch-ups. So you can see, like, as time goes on, a 2-week fill, it's like seriously, people are willing to knock down doors to get their girls for their touch-up every 2 weeks. It's not like hair or nails that you can put off. It really is something that your clients are going to be put on a standing appointment, and they are going to see you every single 2 weeks. All right. So what are the requirements to do lashes? So this has actually changed quite a bit. Like I said, I sat on the state board for a long time. I tried to make things pass in different ways to make it easier for us here in New Mexico, if you're in New Mexico, but it changes from state to state. Every single state is different. If you live in Colorado, you need an esthetician or a cosmetology license, but then you also need a 100-hour certification class. And this, if you wanted to come do the certification with with me here, we definitely can do that. So that's typical for most places in Colorado, although it ranges depending on which county that you're in. In Texas, Texas is one of the only places that you can actually just have an eyelash extension license all by itself. Here in New Mexico, it just changed. So for forever, if you would call them, they would verbally say that you needed a Cosmo or an Esti license. However, there were no rules to actually support this. It was just trying to, it's kind of like the wild, wild west of eyelash extensions for a real long time. Here in October of 2023, they did finally pass and say, yes, they do have it in writing now that they want you to have an Esti or a Cosmo license. However, it's not taught in the school. So if you want to do it, you're still going to need to do some sort of a certification training class, which I am here for you. That's what I do. The whole reason why I started this is because I love education and I want to make sure that you are qualified to be able to do this in training, not just with a piece of paper, but in training. And so that is what the requirements are now. You do not need to have your Esti or Cosmo license in order to do the class with me. I welcome you with open arms to come do the class. However, if you do want to work in an establishment, you do need to have that license. And I think this is a great way to be able to see, is this something that you really want to do? Do you want to be in the beauty industry? Is this something that you enjoy? Of course, if you have your Esti or your Cosmo license already, even if it's kind of gone dormant for a little while, come do this class. And I would love to get your clientele so much busier and be able to build that book of business for you so much faster. So this class is open for everyone. And if you are wanting to pursue this as a career, then definitely you're probably going to want to get that Esti or Cosmo license. But this is a great way to get started. Okay, so today in this eyelash extension mini training, we talked about, you learned the 3 most important questions to ask yourself when lashing. Is the lash fully isolated? Is the lash too far up, too far down? Is there a smooth connection? And what are the styles of lashes, the volume, the classic, the mega volume? And then also we talked a little bit about how much you can make and what are the requirements for doing lashes. All right, but we're not done. We're going to learn a little bit more here, just because I want you to walk away today feeling like you really got a good education in this from this mini training. So a couple of things to consider when you do have a client come in is I want you to look at what your client wants. What are their wishes? What are they looking for as far as their lashes go? Then we want to consider what type of lashes she naturally has. How much space is there between her eyebrows and her eyes? And then we're going to create a map. So a very basic map and something that's very standard is we look at, okay, a short, a medium, or a long. Typically, we do a shorter lash on the inside, longer lash on the outside. But in your bonus, if you decide that you want to jump in today and do the training with me, you are also going to get this free bonus PDF book that is going to give you multiple style maps. And it truly is just beautifully done, beautifully written so that you can understand it very well and be able to get some more of these gorgeous maps to be able to take care of your clients when you become a lashing expert, which I know you will be. All right, so the eyelash extension certification one-day intensive. The class runs typically from 9 to 3. It is a full day of instruction. Again, I have trained hundreds and hundreds of people in this class in the art of eyelash extensions and really understanding what it is that it takes to actually become a good lash artist. And I would love for you to jump in and do this with me. All right, so happy lashing, everybody. Let's go ahead and I'm going to close this out really quick. All right. Thank you guys so much for attending this little mini training again today. You do get your bonus of those free maps, and then you did also get this bonus training. And I really hope that this mini eyelash extension training has been just what you were looking for to kind of push you over the edge to decide, yes, I want to do lashes. This is where I want to be. I want to be in the beauty industry. And again, I would love to have you. So make sure to go ahead and sign up for the next class. I have multiple classes running all of the time. And if you have any questions whatsoever, I'd love to help you with it. Go ahead and contact me. All right. I'm Shelby Hohsfield, and I hope to see you soon.